Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Acumatica Lunch and Learn Manufacturing Edition, hosted by Gold Certified Partner Cloud9 ERP Solutions, the best path for transforming your business to thrive in the new digital economy. Today's agenda, we're going to start with an introduction to Cloud9 ERP Solutions and Acumatica. You'll see why Acumatica is the best path for transforming your business into the new digital economy with connected business delivered. Then we'll go into the main event, the live Acumatica demo featuring the Manufacturing Edition, and finally we'll finish off with a general open Q&A. All right, Dan Vanacore, I will bring it over to you. He is our Director of Business Development. Would you like to introduce Cloud9 ERP Solutions?
Absolutely. Thanks, Justine. Welcome, everybody, and thank you again for attending. Hope you enjoyed your lunch, and we are so excited that you were able to attend today this important webinar by Cloud9 ERP Solutions. So let me start out a little bit about Cloud9 ERP Solutions. It is a value-added reseller exclusively implementing and supporting Acumatica. We have experience going back to 1988. We were founded by CEO Greg Mercedes in 2013, and we have offices across the US, headquartered in Stamford, Connecticut, with offices also in Atlanta and Boston. Next slide, thank you. Acumatica has been a part of the digital transformation for over a decade, which translates to providing its customers a solution that works very well for a distributed workforce. Acumatica since 2008 has been built for mobile and telework scenarios, and it can easily integrate with a host of collaboration tools of your choice. Acumatica delivers flexibility, efficiency, and continuity to your organization. The beauty of Acumatica is that it was built as a platform first and foremost, utilizing the latest technology tools built for the future. The Acumatica platform allows you to grow with your business and to seamlessly adjust to your organization's changing business needs. Acumatica as a software provider has some very clear differentiators in the market today among its competitors. First and foremost, it's available anytime, anywhere, on any type of device. So when you think about the environment that we're in today, employees can work anywhere, any device, no matter where they are, and have accessibility to Acumatica. One of the other key differentiators is flexible licensing. It's a pay-as-you-go model that can grow or shrink depending upon your business needs. There is no per-seat charge with Acumatica, and this extends out to key partners, customers, and other business relationships that you have. Acumatica's focus from the very inception was to give everyone availability to the software. And the other piece that really differentiates or separates Acumatica from many of its competitors is its deployment options. You have flexible options in terms of a public and private cloud with some of the best state-of-the-art modern security built into Acumatica to protect your data. And Acumatica from the very beginning built out a very strong set of core products like financials, distribution, CRM, but it didn't stop there. Acumatica looked at the marketplace and said, we need core industry editions that cater to our specific customers' growing needs. So it built out these industry editions to really focus and zero in on what are customers really needing within their specific industries. And with Acumatica, you get this open architecture for ease of integration with many other software solutions out there that you can see named in this slide. So it is really providing you an ability to build out a platform, build out a solution, not only for today, but the future as well. And on top of that, Acumatica has a very diverse ISV network community where you can continue to grow with this ecosystem for customers who want a flexible, dependent system that they can use and integrate with other different types of technology out there. So as you grow with your business, Acumatica has the features and functions and other solutions out there that are able to complement your business. And Acumatica, again, it gets some very big accolades from many of the research analysts in the market today, such as Nucleus Research. And one here noted as of June was rated the highest in usability. So customers can be guaranteed that they're using the best product in the market today with a high level of usability and functionality. And again, just some other recognition from some of the key analysts out there. Cody Awards rated Acumatica the best manufacturing solution out there, as well as Gartner and G2 Crowd constantly recognizing Acumatica as a leader in its field. One of the things we really pride ourselves on is our customer bill of rights, written and put together and published last year by our CEO, John Roscoe. These are basically guarantees that are committed to you from Acumatica. A challenge, if you will, to the marketplace to meet these challenges as customers expect more and more from their software provider. And not an entire list, but you can see that Acumatica customers are very diverse. I like to call the software when I'm working with prospects that it's agnostic. It fits very well in many different businesses, obviously manufacturing, retail, commerce, construction, wholesale distribution. It's a product that's built for many different types of businesses, size of businesses, and different industries. And just to kind of put a summary together in terms of Acumatica and Cloud9 ERP solutions, we're the only cloud and browser-based ERP solution that really adapts to a customer's needs, not only today, but in the future. It's 100% partner driven, which means that Acumatica can put a large amount of up to 70% of its resources back into the development and building of the product, which only benefits our customers in the long term. Very development focused. Cloud9 ERP solutions, you're guaranteed you're working with a gold certified partner. We have expertise across all the different disciplines within Acumatica. We have a very extensive customer list of diversified customers with very successful implementations, and we come with a very highly rated customer satisfaction rate, as well as a renewal rate where customers continue to work with Cloud9 ERP solutions as their Acumatica provider. And just a few things on what our customers say about us. I think that very first sentence by the Panova CEO says it all. Relationships are important to us at Panova. And I couldn't illustrate more so that Cloud9 ERP Solutions has the same mantra. Relationships are important to us. We're not just interested in gaining customers, we're looking to develop relationships and partnerships over the long term. And you could be guaranteed that if you begin to work with Cloud9 ERP Solutions as your partner. Thanks so much for your time. I really appreciated this opportunity. And now I'm going to turn it back over to Justine.
Thank you, Dan. That was a fabulous overview of Cloud9 ERP solutions and Acumatica. For all of you in the audience, now we have the main event. The Acumatica Cloud ERP Manufacturing Edition demo. Today's presenters, we have Greg Mercedes, the CEO of Cloud9 ERP Solutions, and Jessica Gadbois, Director of Partner Enablement at Acumatica. I'm going to pass this over to you, Greg.
So thanks everybody, and thanks Dan for that presentation. That really that really hits home as to where Acumatica is going and what Cloud9 ERP Solutions is about. One of the things that I'm always encouraged, and we wake up in the morning and we love what we do, and we, from a software standpoint, when you look around and you look at the software industry, one of the slides there that always gets me is how much development goes into Acumatica. You see a lot of products out there that are stagnant. They have either a handful of developers or just a number of old timers that are just kind of maintaining the status quo. And I think what you're going to see with Acumatica is that's not the case. So 100% browser based. I'll log in now. And when we get logged in, the first thing we see is my dashboard. So this is my dashboard. It's got some information on it. The top of the screen here, you can see I'm the admin user. You would see your employee name here as being logged in. You can also see at the top of the screen, I have a global search. So I can search for information that I'm looking for. So it could be an order number, it could be a customer, it could be a contact. You can see, I see sales orders here, payments, quotes, all sorts of things, millions of records in milliseconds, which is great. Additionally, you can see there's other search items here. So simply enough, you search what you're looking for and you can find your menu items on this tab. You can find help topics. Acumatica's help topic is phenomenal, written by documentation specialists, not developers. And additionally, Acumatica is a document management system, so any attachments that you make throughout the software will also globally show up here. So that's our global search. Additionally, we have a history button here. So what this does is it shows you throughout the software where is the last few documents that you've gone through. So I was in an opportunity, I was in a payment, I've been very busy. And you can see that. And you could also categorize them. So if I just want to see certain things, I can click on them. Or I could even add them as a favorite. So maybe there's a specific customer that I like that I'll add to my favorites, and that'll show up here. On the left-hand side is our menu structure. So you can see all the different work areas. So for example, if I'm going to receivables, I can see all of my menu items here that I frequently use. But I have a button here to show everything. If I have rights, Acumatica has role-based security. So if I have rights, I can see that stuff. Now, back to role-based security, again, as I'm the admin user, you see everything here because I'm in the administrator role. But as users sign into the system and they're attached to their role, for example, warehouse manager or maybe accounts receivable clerk, they will see the items that are relative to the job that they're assigned to do. So these items, for example, will go away, even down to the screen. So for example, if I open up a customer here, actually open up customers, so this is bringing up a list of customers. The columns of information and the information inside the profile, it's all security based. Now this right here gives us a view of all our customers. And if I open up one, to give you an example of security, so this gives me the ability to see what fields I need to do my job. And with simple security, I can turn these things off or even make them read only. Okay. Getting back to the dashboard. So our dashboard is phenomenal. You can communicate any bit of information that's in the system, you can communicate to users and through a dashboard. So for example, we're looking at a sales manager dashboard, which is showing our wins and losses here. It's also showing things like profitability trend, deal size trend. So we have different types of ways to communicate this information. We call them widgets. So if you scroll around, you can see I can move these widgets around, just move them around if I have the rights. I can scroll down, I can add a new widget, and it could be anything from a chart, many different types of charts, to a table of information, maybe a list of customers that are hot customers to call, an embedded web page. You could see at the top of the screen a scorecard, so that's the total number of wins and losses, or a trending card, and even a pivot table. So if I go back out and I unclick design, you can see that right here we're talking about opportunities, and the opportunities are broken out by when they're estimated to close and based on their stage. So you can do that, or you can do quantities, counts of opportunities, average deal size, all sorts of different things. Pivot tables being embedded into Acumatica. And then these kinds of things, when we talk about, Dan talks about accessibility from anywhere. These kinds of things, with a click of a button, you can go in and you can make a change and simply enough add this to your mobile app. So no waiting for the software developer to come up with a new version and add these things to a new version of the app you have to download. You can simply check this, and now your dashboard is showing up on the mobile app. So phenomenal amount of communication and flexibility to suit the needs of your business. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go through a process. I'm going to go through and create an opportunity, a sales opportunity, and I'm going to get it all the way over to a sales order. So if we go to opportunities, I'll click on our list of opportunities. Actually, I'll go into our business accounts. We'll start there. So this is in our CRM system. This is our business list of business accounts. So I can come up here and I could search for a customer, type a few letters, and it'll find it. And I can open up that customer. And again, you could see some information here about the customer and their address. You can see any activity. So this is our communication headquarters for this customer. So anything from invoices to quotes to conversations about opportunities. We'll get to that in a second. Any number of contacts that are part of this customer, you can see that there. If the customer is related to anybody and maybe a technical expert, there's the contact information. You can link people together. Here's a list of support tickets. Acumatica has a support ticket option that'll show you all the support cases in the system. So you can see that here. And we have different filters. So you can go in here and say, show me only open, show me ones that were waiting on the customer. But you can see all the support tickets and get right into them right there. And then also orders. So this shows all the orders that are related to this customer. And again, if I want to, I can have a filter showing only the open ones and get into them. So when I'm on the phone with a customer, I have this information accessible to me so that I can communicate to the customer properly. Now, if I go to opportunities, these are the opportunities that are out there. Again, I can have a filter, it will show open. And I could look at these to see what's going on. But in this case, the customer is looking to talk about some new business. So we'll open up a new opportunity. We'll create a new one. And what you see here, this is a category for the type of opportunity. We also have a different stage. So your sales stage that you track your opportunities, we'll start it off as qualified. We estimate that this deal can close possibly by the end of the month. And maybe it's relating to, we're selling meters, okay? Notice the customer get pulled in there. And right down here, this is my communication center for this particular opportunity, meaning any activities will also flow up to the customer screen that we were just in. So for example, if I need to put a note here, this could be big, and nothing like that for a note to communicate to everybody in our sales organization. So now I have that time date stamped here. And then as I'm moving along, I have the ability to maybe put a number against this. And this will help with my sales forecast. So $10,000 will show up in my forecast. We can open up this opportunity and maybe change the stage to development. And what you notice here is the stage does more than just helping everybody understand what are the next steps to move this sale to completion. It also weighs the amount of this opportunity into your sales forecast. So a development, for example, we've configured it, you can configure it any way you want, to 20%. So we're taking $10,000 and it's coming out to $2,000. As we evolve, this will start to get bigger and bigger. Notice also, again, a modern platform. As I make changes here, the whole web page isn't refreshing. Some of the systems you may see in the future or you've seen before, every time you do anything and you go through to different pages, the whole web page is refreshing. It's a modern user interface. So moving ahead, now I want to maybe add an item to this. So I'll type in I'll type in, this is a Kurag that we're looking for. We're just gonna say meter here, okay? And we'll add quantity 10. So this gives us an amount. and I can save it. So now I can use this to automatically adjust my opportunity amount. The other thing to note here is that because this customer is up here, any pricing or pricing breaks to this item or to this customer will be reflected here. So they're getting a discount because that's part of the way we do business. It's not something you see when you're using a third-party CRM system. So this is very effective at being able to communicate, pricing to salespeople as they're quoting and as they're putting numbers together. So now if we go to quotes, we want to maybe add a quote here so we can get it out. We'll say create and review. So what this does is it takes that information that I've been compiling. I've been compiling information about what the customer's needs are, and it brings it into here. So this is our quote right now, and it's for this item. I can make additional changes as I need to. I can add additional items as I need to. And you'll also see here, for example, here's my shipping information. And I also have my communications headquarters. So if we take this now and we submit this quote, now we've locked it down. And we've locked it down temporarily until we want to edit it again so that we can now send it out. So if we take a look at this quote, you can see your logo will show up here, the quote number, who the salesperson is, and this is the item that we're quoting. Now if we hit the send button, Acumatica has integrated email. So there's our quote right there. And we can pull down any information if we want to. So if we have standard information, we can pull that from here. So any number of templates that we have, and we can kind of look for them and say, basically, here's a quote notification, and it'll pull it in to our template if we want to, or you can define this up front. The top of the screen, you can see there's a PDF attachment of this quote. And when I send it, and I go back to my quote, what you see here is our activities. So this is the activity that we sent the quote out. Any replies from this prospect will come right back in here and will go to your inbox. So what you get out of this is a completely threaded response. Anybody wants to follow up on this quote, they know what's going on. They have the real-time look at this particular quote, what's going on with it, and how to maneuver to get this deal closed. Okay, so if I go back now to our opportunity, you can see here, there's the email that got brought in from the quote. So again, communication headquarters. We know everything we need to about the progress of this opportunity. You can also see the quote here. We can also have different quote revisions. So we can copy the existing quote and have a new one. The customer decides that they want something different or maybe they want something extra. And now when it's all said and done, we can close this as one. And I'm going to do that in a second. One quick tech note, and I'm probably running over time, but I'm going to go quick. One quick tech note, again, modern platform. Acumatica gives us the ability to do side panels. And what that means is that you can reflect information relative to this customer, in this case, I'll just take that filter out. So as I'm working with this customer, maybe it would be nice to see all their sales history. So, this took maybe 5 minutes, maybe less, for me to add the side panel to this particular screen. I can do that anywhere in Acumatica. It passed this customer over here, and it gives me the ability to see all sorts of information from my sales profitability analysis screen. So I took the two together, I married them, and now I can see that information. As I go into other customers, it'll show their sales history as well. And this is kind of a useful field, this useful screen, because it shows the total sale, it shows margin percentage, and it even has some conditional formatting to show, where we're making additional margins, 53%, 99%. You can see the shading there. Okay. All right, so I'm going to close that. I'll close this as one. Here we can decide, well, what's the reason it won? And we can choose, for example, price. And again, this is all configurable to how you do business in your sales department. Now from this, now that it's won, I can go right over to create a sales order. And it's that simple. I took an opportunity, a sales opportunity, we workshopped it through, we closed the deal, and now we have a sales order that's released to the warehouse. Now that's for those of you that are doing opportunity sales, great, that's a perfect fit. Sometimes we run the disadvantage of not being able to show every workflow. So we also have a simple quote that you can do here. But this entire process, this workflow throughout Acumatica makes it phenomenal to use and really continue the continuation between different departments of your company, bringing everybody, as Dan mentioned, everybody into the software for real-time information. Justine, is that good? Am I good on time?
We're doing all right. Thank you so much for that overview, Greg. That was fabulous. And we will head right over to the manufacturing side with Jessica Gadbois.
Perfect. Thank you so much, everybody. My name is Jessica Gadbois. I am the Director of Partner Enablement at Acumatica. So what that means is I have the pleasure of working with all types of customers and partners, but don't tell anybody, manufacturers are really my favorite. I've worked with hundreds of manufacturing companies on their digital transformation. And what I've found is that, yes, while every manufacturing company is different, for the most part, the majority of their operational processes and their existing pains are very similar. So struggling with things like inventory management of lot and serial numbers, sub-assemblies, scheduling of the shop floor, quality management, those are a lot of the areas that I deal with on a day-to-day basis with my manufacturing clients. So to get you started in my demo, and just confirm, Justine, you are seeing my production manager dashboard?
I sure am.
Awesome. So just to get you started in my demo, everything that Greg has done so far, I'm just going to build on top of that. So Greg started his presentation with dashboards, and you should keep in mind that every single user and role within the company will have a dashboard that is tailored to their day-to-day activities. So we saw the sales manager dashboard and we saw some support information, but just keep that in mind. There's warehouse dashboards and purchasing dashboards and project dashboards, you name it. But from a production manager's standpoint, a manufacturing manager's standpoint, here are some of the things that I care about. You know, my work centers and the capacities across those work centers, the production orders that are late, my variances on both a labor and material basis. So I always like to start with dashboards because that gives us the bird's eye view of everything that we will touch on after this. Now, the first place I typically like to go in my manufacturing demos is the bill of materials module. And the reason I like to do that is because understanding a bill of materials will really help you understand the behavior of the rest of our production system. So what do I mean by that? Well, Acumatica supports a number of types of manufacturers: make to stock manufacturers, make to order, engineer to order, configure to order, batch, process. So again, the bill of materials is a good place to start because all of those types of manufacturers, even job shops, are using these bills in some way. With Acumatica's bill of materials, we manage everything related to the bill in one place. So some systems, for example, manage routings separate from their material lists, separate from their operational times. If you look here, here's the item that I'll be building today, something I assume a lot of us are familiar with, but it's a discrete item. It has components and sub-assemblies in it, and that is my Keurig coffee maker. Now, I want everybody to be very, very aware that while I'm using a discrete item today, the exact same thing applies to companies that are producing maybe batches, like food and beverage companies, chemical manufacturers. You can still have a bill of materials, and the materials become your recipe or your ingredients if you are operating in that type of world. So just want to be clear. Now, beyond the item that we're making, we do absolutely support revisions in Acumatica. So if you'd like basic revision control, you modify a component and you would like to update to a revision B, absolutely fine. And we also have more advanced engineering change control. So you can actually create change orders and send those through approval processes, all right within Acumatica. So a lot of my clients are doing change control outside of their ERP today, and we want to help you bring that inside of the ERP. Now, I mentioned in the center of the screen that these are the operations that are involved to create this finished good. In other words, the routing. So we need to perform an assembly, and then we need to perform our inspection on each one of our Keurigs. Now, if you look down at the bottom of the screen, these are the materials that we would need to utilize during the assembly phase. When you get over to inspection, just notice I don't have materials tied to that operation. So this means you can get very controlled with both your costs and the material operations at each one, the materials at each one of your operations. A lot of systems do not allow you to, for example, release one operation and then move on to the next. You will not have that issue in Acumatica. Now, the last thing I would like to show, actually, two more things. I also want to mention that these operations are each tied to a work center. So within that work center, you can set up standard labor costs, the machines that would be used inside of those work centers for scheduling purposes, etc. So those work centers are all tied with their costs down to the general ledger. And the final thing I was mentioning about the bill is the Keurig item that we're looking at today not only has component materials, but it also has sub-assembly materials as part of this. So in other words, there is additional assemblies that need to be created in order to make this finished good. So in my example, this inlet and my circuit board are those sub-assemblies. I'll show you a quick example of when I print or bring up my multi-level bill of materials, what that would look like. It's going to show me those sub-assemblies that I was mentioning. So for those of you that are familiar with the multi-level, you know exactly what we're looking at. For those of you that are not, you can see each time I have an indentation, that would outline what components go into the sub-assembly above it. So our inlet at level 0 is sub-assembly 1. And our circuit board at level 0 is subassembly 2. And you can see, well, we need a base unit at level 1 that goes into that inlet. But guess what? Not only do we need that, we actually need these 4 components at level 2 to go into that base unit. So you can see how this multi-level structure helps many Acumatica clients, not only to manage costs and components, but in that overall subassembly creation as well. Not all of our clients do manage sub-assemblies. So if you're a light manufacturer that is doing very quick and fast assemblies on the shop floor, absolutely we'll have a great solution for you as well. Okay, now we've covered the bill. Everything that we've just done here becomes our planned template for production, all of our planned costs and our planned routings. Now, when we go out and actually manufacture this Keurig, what will that look like? So Greg showed you an example with placing from an opportunity to a quote to a sales order. And I mentioned that Acumatica does support make-to-order manufacturers. So in just a quick example here, I'll pull up a sales order. And on this sales order, you can see that I'm selling that Keurig item. Now I have my sales order 5920, but because I'm using a make-to-order example, we need to go out and make this for the order. So I now have a production order or a work order that has been tied to the sales order. So this is my make-to-order example, but keep in mind we also can do configure to order. We can start with an estimate if you need to do engineer or estimating to order. We even have CAD integrations. So if you're using a CAD system and would like to plug that directly into Acumatica, you are more than welcome to do so. Now here on the production order, a couple of things that we will note. Number one, you'll always see references back to what are you creating this for and where are you creating it from. So we can see the sales order and the customer that we are making this for. We can also see the exact bill of materials that we are using, which is where we just started a moment ago. So bringing in that default bill, you could modify the revision at this point in time if you wanted to. Now, very, very important for all manufacturers are the job costs that are going to be tied to your work orders. So what you can see from this totals tab here is I'm gaining visibility into all of my planned costs that I started with on that on the bill of materials. Then as I go out and actually do the work, I can start to capture my actual costs. Now, again, for those of you that are maybe simple, or I shouldn't say simple, if you are a light manufacturer and you are doing basic assembly type of operations, then all you might want to do as an organization is go in and create what's called a move transaction to complete this order. As simple as saying, we are moving it off the shop floor and it is complete. Here's the quantity we entered, backflush the order, and it's done, okay? For those of you that are maybe creating material issues, you are having your employees clock in and clock out on the shop floor to capture their labor time, there might be a few additional steps that you would want to take here. So what I'm going to show you is an example of Acumatica's mobile shop floor data collection. This is a completely native tool. So what that means is we built our shop floor data collection through our own platform, and it works on iOS and Android devices. So for those of you on the line today that are interested in using mobile shop floor data collection, you can actually use your smartphones if you would like to. You could use tablets out on the shop floor, and you can also use rugged scanners to scan and capture this information. So let me pull up my iPhone for you here. I am an iPhone user, and this is the Acumatica mobile app. Greg mentioned this in his demonstration that we do have an app available. It is out there in the Apple and Android store today, but you would need an Acumatica instance to access it. So when I log in, you'll see that it's all of the same functionality from the ERP, expense receipts, opportunities, support cases. But my goal here is, of course, to focus on the shop floor data collection. So when I scroll down a bit, you see that I can actually scan materials. I can create those move transactions I was just referring to. I can do a clock entry to say I am clocking into a job. All of this available from tablets and mobile devices, which means you don't necessarily have to go out and pay a lot of money for additional hardware if you do not want to. Now, let me scan, I'll do the material scan in my example. And actually one thing that I have to do is make sure that my order is released, which I don't think I did. Oh, yes, I did. I know myself not well enough. Okay. So now I can use my mobile app to start scanning from this production ticket. For those of you that use Job Travelers, again, you probably recognize this document. And I can take my iPhone and it will guide me through what I need to do. So scanning the production number is the first thing that it's asking me to do, and I can go in and do that. The next thing it wants me to do is scan the operation. So the assembly, I go in and do that. Where is the item actually coming from? So if you're using bin management, for example, and we're pulling it out of bin 10, R1S1 stands for row 1, shelf 1 in my example, and then it's asking me for the actual barcode of the item. So I can scan the item that I would like to issue to the job. Now, all of this gets fed back to Acumatica in real time. There's absolutely no delay from the mobile application back to my production orders. So all of that material information, as we're depleting components, as we are, pulling items from bins, everybody back at the manufacturing facility will be up to date with that information. My inventory numbers stay accurate, my costing numbers stay accurate, and as my orders are moving through the shop floor, we are also remaining very accurate with the scheduling and the operations around that. So just a quick peek at our mobile shop floor data collection and a couple of other items that I would like to cover just in the essence of our short demo today. Now, of course, we could go back and finish up some of the production order transactions, but what I would actually like to do is switch gears for a moment and talk to you a little bit about procurement. All of my manufacturing clients definitely need some sort of assistance with procurement one way or another. If you are a manufacturer that is looking for something as basic as reorder points, you're in a great spot. We have min, max, reorder points, safety stock that you can use to get a suggestion of what your purchases would look like. However, if you're looking for a bit more advanced material requirements planning, we absolutely have that available. What material requirements planning does is it looks across your entire system and all of the demand that exists there. So it's helping you to balance your supply and your demand by producing suggestions to help you get to just-in-time inventory. Again, a lot of my clients are struggling with either having too much inventory on hand or not having the inventory when they need it. So MRP is all about keeping you lean and helping you get that inventory just in time. How do we do that? There's a number of ways, a number of sources of demand. Existing sales orders in the system, existing production orders in the system, forecasts, master production schedules or build schedules is what those are sometimes referred to as. So I have an example here, one of my food items, but essentially saying, from a build schedule, I make my items to stock. So we need to manufacture 500 pounds of this item every month. And I could build that into my MRP schedule, which will then tell me, here's exactly when you need to purchase the ingredients or the components that go into that item. If you look now at my MRP display, this is showing me just that. It is my supply plan. So it's looking across all of that demand and showing me everything that needs to be purchased, as well as everything that needs to be manufactured. So down at the bottom of my screen, this is the data resulting from that production schedule that I had entered. I absolutely need to manufacture the 500 pounds or cases, whatever your unit of measure might be, by the specific day of the year. But if you look above that, if I'd like to manufacture this on the action date of the 30th, I actually need to purchase these ingredients above it in order to make my tasty cakes. I need flour and sugar and cocoa, and I need to start purchasing those items by the 18th, my action date, if I would like to have those in time to begin manufacturing on the promised date of the 30th. So this is a very simple example of how we are helping you to keep that just-in-time inventory. And then right from this screen, you can create your work orders, and you can also create your purchase orders. There is a full regeneration process involved here. You can also use purchase order grouping if you're buying from the same vendor, etc. Our MRP is very strong. I have seen quite a few MRPs that exist out there in the ERP space today, and I am very, very happy with Acumatica's MRP, and it's only getting better at this point in time. A little bit about procurement. I know that's something at the top of a lot of our minds. Now, one of the last things that I am going to do in my demonstration is talk to you a little bit about our product configurator. We do have, I mentioned for those customers that are doing configure to order, we do have a product configurator that is built directly into Acumatica. Again, when you go out in the ERP world and you start to do some research on other ERP vendors, you will find that many times that product configurator is a separate third-party tool, and that means it needs to be integrated into Acumatica or the ERP of choice. A lot of times there is, delays and double entry occurring there. So I wanted to show you a quick example of our native product configurator. What I just did is I went back to a sales order. You could use the configurator on a sales order. You can use it on a quote. You can use it directly on a production order. But if I am, in my example, a manufacturer who makes baseball bats, sporting equipment will be our example today. So here I am making a custom wooden baseball bat. And what I need to do is configure the options for my customer. They're buying something custom, so what should this look like? Now, when I click this button to configure my baseball bat, I'll be taken to a configuration entry screen. On this screen, I can start to pick from the features that are being presented to me and provide the options for those features. I like to think of this as my questions. What color handle, what color actual paint on the body of the bat, what type of wood. I like to think of those as the questions. And then the answers are your options. Now, our product configurator is a CPQ, so it does do configure price quote, it does do a pricing rollup, it does include exclude rules, so it is a rules-based configurator. Give you an example of that. Here we're configuring our baseball bat, so the first thing it wants to know is what color handle are we using. I'll go in and select a black handle for my baseball bat. Notice this is tied to inventory. So I'm not only selecting black paint, but my shop floor now knows you need to pull 0.25 gallons of black paint to manufacture this baseball bat. Continuing to go through here, if I pick black paint for the body of my baseball bat, then that is going to trigger an exclude rule, which means we are going to exclude the color black as one of your options for your lettering or your engraving on the bat, because you would not be able to read those black letters on top of a black painted baseball bat. So you do not see black in that list because we have excluded it based on your previous options. This is one example of many examples of how detailed you can get with this include exclude rules-based configurator. It is also dimensional. So if you need to input certain attributes, height and width, and you need to come out with a material quantity to calculate those dimensions for you, we do support the dimensional aspects of the product configurator as well. So I hope that helps just to give you some insight as to how the configurator is completely built in. If you look, it drops that price now after I have applied my options there, and I can now go through the same process of creating a production order for my sales order whenever I'm ready. All right, I am going to stop here. I know we covered a lot in only about 30 minutes of my manufacturing demo. And as I started the presentation with, I also understand that every single one of you on the line today has unique operations. But for the most part, we do understand a lot of the pains and growing pains that you're going through as a manufacturing company. So I hope this presentation was helpful. The Cloud9 team is standing by and ready to help. We can put together, a more tailored demo for you on Acumatica based on your business. So Justine, I'm going to hand it back over to you and let you close us out with some Q&A.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Jessica. That was fabulous. I'm sure everyone had learned a lot more than they have seen before. So, of course, we already had mentioned, if you have any questions, now is the time.
Yeah, and thanks, Jessica. That was a great demonstration. A lot of information, and as Jessica mentioned, when we sit down with you and we start to do a demonstration, sit down remotely, of course, these days. But when we do a demonstration, we tailor it to your business and your workflow. One of the examples, we talked about opportunities. Not everybody uses opportunities. You may do a simpler quote. That's one example. Make to order, make to stock. There's a number of different workflows, and the platform in Acumatica is very flexible to give you that ability to make the system wrap around your business. So we look forward to that and meeting up with you guys and talking about your business.
And then Dan, I'm going to pass it over to you to get started on answering some of our questions.
Yeah, thanks, Justine. We do have some that I think are going to be directed to Jessica. One question that came in is, does Acumatica handle phantom bill of materials for manufacturing parts?
Yes, we certainly do. You can make that determination at a material by material level. So if you have some items that you would like to treat as a phantom and others that you do not, we certainly have that level of granularity available.
Excellent. Thanks, Jessica. We've got another one here if you're ready.
Sure.
How does Acumatica handle like scrap or yield? the company I'm with, we cut pipes and metal, but yet we have remainders after that that have to go back into inventory. Does Acumatica have a way to handle that?
We absolutely do, and you can do this at an operation by operation level if you would like to. You have some different options that you can choose from in just writing off your scrap costs. You could take no action on your scrap, or you can do as you described, which is called quarantining your scrap. Where we treat that as scrap costs, we can quarantine that inventory into a separate location, and then after a QA process or whatever it might be, there could be an opportunity to place that quarantine inventory back into a sellable or production location through a transfer. We can also predefine scrap factors. So if you expect to lose 5% during production, we can put that on the bill of materials as our planned scrap. You go out and perform your work and you find out that you lose 20%, we can capture that variance as well. So yes, we can handle that, Dan.
Excellent. And you kind of touched on this too, which kind of leads to another question. Does Acumatica have a way to track or categorize hazmat material within the manufacturing environment?
Yes, so hazmat is interesting because what I'll say is that with our standard tools, we can, if you're just looking, for example, pop-up windows or special documentation to inform either the shipping folks or the folks on the shop floor that it is a hazardous material, there is some support for that. However, if you're looking for more advanced hazmat support, compliance, ISO quality, things along those lines, we also have third parties that provide more advanced quality and compliance than you would see in the standard Acumatica Manufacturing Edition.
Awesome. Thank you, Jessica. And I think one more here I had, if you've got time. This one is just in terms of, is there a limit to the level of bill of materials within Acumatica?
Yeah, good question. We get that one pretty often. Our development team tells us that we can go up to 99 levels. I have never had a client that needs more than 20 levels, and they were manufacturing military army tanks. So I think you should be all right with the 99 levels.
Awesome. Thank you. Appreciate the responses.
All right. Well, firstly, I just wanted to thank our presenters. Thank you so much to Jessica Gadbois, Director of Partner Enablement at Acumatica, Greg Mercedes, our CEO here at Cloud9 ERP Solutions, and Dan Vanacore, Director of our Business Development at Cloud9 ERP Solutions. That was a mouthful. Also, thank you everyone who joined us today for our webinar. We hope that you got to see a nice little sneak peek of Acumatica. You will receive an email following up after this webinar that will give you the opportunity to schedule your free business consultation. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful day.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, everybody. Take care.